We're in conversation with Patrick Joy, founder of SureTank, the Dundalk-based manufacturer of secure storage containers for the offshore oil industry. Patrick, nice to meet you. You founded SureTank in the mid-1990s when you were already in middle age. Did you come to entrepreneurship a little bit late in life?
No, I wouldn't say so. Now, I did engineering in university, and if I look back on engineering then, it wasn't a great place it wasn't a place where entrepreneurship would be encouraged the way engineering would have been taught in those days. In that, engineering was all about mitigating risk, while starting a business and entrepreneurship is all about taking risk. I worked for a couple of years with an American company based in Ireland. First of all in production as an engineer, and then I moved into sales and marketing. And I travelled the Middle East with them for 3.5, 4 years. Fantastic experience and great training for me.
But you always had the bug to go out on your own, and you left Kent's.
Yes, I did. I left Kent's in 1988 to do a business degree. I decided, I had the few bob set aside. I felt that I needed some sort of extra training, you could say, maybe on the accounting side. I wouldn't have had much knowledge of accounts and how they were constructed and stuff like that. And it was also a chance to take a year out and to look and see what opportunities were there. I was approached then by a company in County Monaghan who were looking for a sales director to come in and replace the founder who was running the sales. And the MD at the time said, look, we want to do a management buyout in this company and we're looking to put a team together. So that attracted me, and very much so. So I worked at that company for 6 months, realised after 6 months that the man I was supposed to replace, the founder, wasn't leaving. Left that business, went to work in another company down in Tipperary.
But where did you get the idea for the SureTank idea, the equipment for oil rigs?
The SureTank idea came from that business in County Monaghan, because I went back there subsequently. When this MBO came back on the table about a year later, they approached me and said, look, we're going again, would you be interested? I came back, I spent 2 years there. We put together a plan to buy out the shareholders, and at the last minute somebody came in with a bigger check. One of the people that I had come across in that business was a Norwegian guy who wanted a particular product built similar to what we were building. And he wanted this product built suitable for the offshore oil industry. We made tanks for transporting chemicals by road, rail and sea, large tanks. He wanted a smaller version. So I listened to him, built the prototype for him. The new owners that came into that business had very little interest in the product. I got to know the guy quite well. And one day over a few beers in a place called Saks Hotel, which used to be on Moorhampton Road, very early in the morning, he said, Patrick, he says, if you set up your own factory, I'll give you your first order. And that was basically the spark that did it.
23 years ago, you established SureTank.
Yeah.
You now employ well over 600 people all over the world. Were you ready for that level of scale up?
Never anticipated it was going to grow that fast. But we rode the wave, to be honest with you. We had 2 downturns in that it was 18, 19 years from 1995 till 2013 when we sold the majority share. We had 20% plus average growth across that period every year.
Supplying oil rigs globally from Dundalk.
Yeah.
Is it your view, based on your experience, that any Irish person can grow any sort of business and supply globally from a small town?
Yes, I mean, I think business is all about customers and about relationships. And obviously you've got to have a product or a service that people want as well. And I think Irish people are particularly suited to growing businesses overseas, because we don't have an awful lot of baggage and people don't have a problem with us. We're pretty much welcomed wherever we go. And I think business, for me, business anyway, has always been about the personal relationship and getting to know the people and delivering on what you might promise, you know.
Whatever business you're in, is quality and brand equity a really important factor?
Yeah, it's a must factor nowadays. You know, you don't succeed otherwise, because every business has competition. So you have to be top of your game in those regards. For me, business success, I suppose, is about not over-promising. You have to under-promise and over-deliver, and that really keeps your customers happy.
What key message would you give to people who are thinking of getting into business or trying to grow a small business?
I suppose the key message is to go for it, to actually go for it with everything you've got, you know. I think you've got to be ambitious, you've got to have drive, and you've got to be very resilient, and you've got to be prepared for some knockbacks along the way, because you definitely will come across those. But you've also got to be a leader, and I think that's really, really important. You've got to lead your business from the front, and you've got to set the example for the people that you have around you.
And are they skills and qualities that can grow over time, or are they inherent in people like yourself, do you think?
I think everybody has different qualities. Not everybody is going to lead a business. And if you have a business, you need people behind you that are necessarily good followers too, and good team members. But the business itself has to have a leader, and somebody who leads from the front and who sets the example for everybody behind. Whether or not that's innate or whether you can be taught to people is a pretty interesting debate. I don't think you can teach people to be entrepreneurs, but I think you can light the spark with the right type of education and exposure.
Finally, your attitude to risk, the whole issue of risk for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You didn't actually set up your own business until you had some money made.
Yeah. Yeah, but without money, without some form of finance, I couldn't have set up the business. Without it, you're going to choke, and you're going to spend an awful lot of time when you should be out developing your business, developing your ideas and creating your customer relationships. Instead of that, you're trying to raise money.
And any advice for them in that regard?
So if it's at all possible, try and get yourself a runway for at least 1 year, but ideally for 2 years. Know what your burn rate is. Be realistic about your projections and about what you're going to do in those first 2 years. Don't over-egg the thing, either to yourself or to your investors.
Patrick Joy, thanks indeed.
Yeah, my pleasure.